Earlier this week, the Minnesota Department of Health reported 2 more cases of measles in the state, bringing our total this year to 4.
So over Memorial Day weekend, the MDH says a child was infectious while at the theme park inside Mall of America, and they are giving a warning to anyone there, specifically on May 24th, between 5 and 9 p.m. that may have been exposed to measles, and to watch for symptoms.
Our KSTP medical expert, Dr. Arkel Giorgio, is here to answer some questions that we're getting from you about measles here in our state and how concerned we all need to be about this. Thanks for being here, Dr.
Absolutely.
We had this story about the MOA and the exposure, right? And so it was on a specific date, it was a specific time. Kind of talk about that, because I think that that was part of it that kind of surprised me. Wait a minute, it's super specific about how contagious it can be, but you're talking about everyone at Nickelodeon Universe who was there at that time to be alert.
Right. So the recommendations that are out are for the highest level of caution, right?
Okay.
But they can be that specific because we know the science about how the measles virus behaves. So things to remember. If you were there on that date, then the typical incubation time to the first symptoms is generally around 11 to 12 days. That means today, tomorrow, if somebody was there and exposed and unvaccinated and has some bad luck, today, tomorrow, they might start having some symptoms. Those symptoms feel like just a regular cold, a fever, a cough, conjunctivitis. You may not think anything more of it. What happens after that, if it's measles rather than a cold, is that you develop a rash. The rash usually starts with white little spots in your mouth, and then you get the red spots that start on the face, the neck, they spread to the chest, the abdomen, and the thighs and the feet. And then that lasts for a number of days.
That's specific to where they start. That's interesting.
That is correct. Starts in the mouth,
yep.
And then starts in the face and travels down.
Okay, so you said unvaccinated people would be the ones that would have to worry about that. What if people are vaccinated, they have to worry about it, or is that?
If people are vaccinated, I wouldn't spend another minute thinking about it.
Sure.
I mean, nothing is 100%.
Right.
But 97% effectiveness of the MMR vaccine for life. And so if you've had 2 vaccines, that's the immunization schedule, 97% effective. But if you weren't vaccinated, or if you just got 1, then your chances are a little bit higher.
So when we talk about vaccination rates in Minnesota, do we have the numbers, right? And we're kind of at what, like a 70-something% vaccination rate?
So there are different rates depending on when you measure. And so the state of Minnesota has reported on the childhood immunization rate for MMR for children that were born in a certain year. They're about 5 years old right now, and they should have been vaccinated. That rate is about 77%. If you look at children at a slightly older age, when maybe their parents caught up with those immunizations, we're in the low 80s. But let's put it this way. We are in the bottom 5 states of the United States in terms of vaccination rate for measles, mumps, and rubella. Bottom 5, because of all of the exceptions that are requested in this state. So children in this state are higher risk than children in other states because we need a 95% immunization rate in order to have herd immunity.
You, as a doctor, recommend getting the MMR?
Absolutely.
I assumed, but
no question about it.
And I know that there's been some questions about in certain parts of the community. People are worried about autism risk, from your standpoint, that's
I'm not stating an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm stating the science that all of the studies showing a link between autism and the MMR vaccine have been completely debunked and retracted. So not a personal opinion, although it also is my personal opinion based on the science.
Okay. Arkel, can we switch topics here?
Yes.
Okay, we want to talk about 23andMe. This is that genetics testing company. You might remember in March of this year, it filed for bankruptcy, and then it was put up for sale. Well, a bidding war happened for who's going to buy this company and what they're going to do with all of the saliva and the data from the 15 million users. And that's a big question, still up in the air this morning. This may be the end for one of the most popular genetic testing companies, but it's not the end for genetic testing overall. There are many other companies that deliver similar services. So let's start, Arkel, I guess, with the difference between companies like 23andMe, when you do a saliva test, and maybe something that your physician orders that you have done for genetic testing.
Sure. So the difference is why they're done and how they're done. Let me explain that. The direct-to-consumer tests, the ones that you can order yourself, usually through the mail, either saliva or a cheek swab, is done to give you important information about your health risks, and it can give you interesting information about your ethnic history, your family background. But when your physician orders a test, they're diving deep on whether or not you have a certain diagnosis, whether or not you have a certain genetic mutation that would put you at risk for a certain disease, whether you'll be responsive to a certain chemotherapy medication. So whereas the DTC tests are telling you a lot of high-level information about certain diseases, the physician-ordered tests are diving deep on one condition so that they can make a diagnostic or therapeutic decision. But I'd like to take you into the science a little bit because I think everybody can read about the first part. The way they're done is completely different. So the DTC tests and the reason
direct to consumer.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
The direct to consumer tests, the reason they're so inexpensive is that they're not sequencing your whole genome. They're not looking at your entire genome. They're looking at what we call SNPs. They're small segments, small variations across all your chromosomes. There's thousands and thousands of them, but they're just calculating your risk relative to the general population about whether or not you're going to get a certain condition. Whereas the physician-ordered tests, they're diving deep. They're looking at the whole gene, or at least many long portions of a gene, so that they can really get a sense of how you're wired genetically.
So you've done one of these 23, or you say you've done a couple
I've done it 4 or 5 times.
All right, so what was your motivation to do it?
Well, I really appreciate knowing everything about my health that I can. And generally, all of the tests over time told me the exact same thing. But let me highlight some things that were interesting and actionable. So I don't have type 2 diabetes, but I have a 2.5 times higher risk than the general population of developing type 2 diabetes. So that result I would have never known. It's not in my family. I have absolutely no symptoms. It's made me aware that I should be cautious about developing that and getting that checked in my history. Another interesting thing on the ancestral side is that, I'm really Greek, and I identify as that, but I'm more Italian than Greek. And that was really interesting, and it goes back to my father's history of being in Greece, and the Italians had taken over the government, but who knew? Really interesting things.
So you get this information, you've got it tucked away for health reasons or just to know. I guess the big question is, you've got the 23andMe, is it dissolving or whatever's happening to it, being bought by somebody else. So every time you do one of these things, you assume that the company's going to be around for a while, but then it's not. So what happens to this stuff, I guess, is the big question.
Are there like legal ways to protect that information? Because if another company buys it, then they have all your information.
So there are privacy policies around what they can do with your information, but it becomes complex when a company files for bankruptcy and then it goes to another one. 3 of the companies that I have used, 23andMe, and then 2 others, have actually gone out of business. And so I have faced that myself. I haven't worried too much about it, but for people that are concerned about their privacy, you should keep that in mind. That's why I do recommend that people do these over-the-counter direct-to-consumer tests, because I think the information is more valuable than the risk of your data getting lost or in the wrong hands. But do try to make sure that the company you select is going to be around for a while.
Raquel, good information.
Makes sense, yeah.
Thank
We could keep this conversation going for a while. Thanks, Doctor. For more medical news and how it impacts you, check out Dr. Giorgio's podcast. It's called Speak Up for Your Health, and we'll post a link to episodes on MinnesotaLive.com.